Hey, are you a bass player? Let's be honest, aren't you tired of feeling like you're in the same place while everybody else around you is progressing? I have a solution. Trust me, I understand where you're coming from. Years ago, I used to deal with the same thing as it related to my playing. You see, over the years, I've developed a lot of different bass riffs and bass licks. And I've been able to put them in a course and to show you exactly how I do them. I'm not going to hold it all to myself. I'm going to show you exactly what it is I'm doing so you can keep up with the competition. So if you're interested in improving and actually becoming the bass player you always dreamed of, check out the Riffs and Licks library.
Morning, everybody. Welcome to Grooves and Motivation. I'm Jermaine Morgan. I see who's that burrito, if I'm saying that correctly. Good morning. All is well with me. Be sure to comment where you're watching from. I'd love to read where you guys are watching from this morning as we jump into it. So be sure to drop that down in the comments for you early comers this morning. So for the groove this morning, we're in the key of G minor, or you can think of it as B flat. Illinois directress, good morning to you. Absolutely, he's definitely smiling on us this morning. We're here. Savannah, Georgia's in the building. So we're in the key of, like I say, G minor. Or you can think of this as B flat major. I'll be going back and forth in between the two. Using that relative stuff. My volume is low. Okay, that's weird. Looks to be fine on this end. I'll cut my mic up a little bit. What about that? Fayetteville in the building. Dimitri, good morning to you. Tiffany, good morning to you. I see Brandon has my last name. I appreciate that, man. Morgan. Let's see who else I missed here. I think I spoke to everybody already. You say you're in C? Oh, okay. I was like, you're in the Kia C. Okay, all right, that's cool. California. Okay, good deal. So it's pretty early over there, right? Was it like 5 a.m. over there? Carl, what's up, man? Fayetteville, Georgia's in the building. So wait a minute. What's that? Fayetteville, North Carolina? Okay, I see. We got Fayetteville, North Carolina, and Fayetteville, Georgia in the building. Yeah, you can do some blues over this. Oh man, morning Floppy. Says your dad passed away. Been dealing with that. Grateful. He said say me some prayer before he passed. Wow, man. I'm very, very sorry to hear that. Prayers and my condolences to you and your family. But glad to have you back nonetheless. I definitely miss seeing the comments pop up floppy. This is a warrior base. Take some of this stuff off. But yeah, this is a warrior base. Isabella is the model of this. This is the single cut model that they designed. Been at this thing for a long time, about 10 years now. So Floppy, where are you from again? Give me that again. And be sure, you guys, if you're just joining in, to drop that in the comment section below. He said it looks expensive. It's a little pricey. More of the boutique base, custom built, not necessarily built on an assembly line, I don't guess. But I enjoy it. Southampton, okay. I've never been there. Looking forward to coming, hopefully one day, after all this stuff clears up a little bit. My vocals sound far off. That's weird. What about now? They still sound far off? I'm sitting like right in front of the mic. Bernard, good morning to you. Benjamin, good morning to you. Yeah, I'd love to come. It's Try this on for size. How about that? There it is. I see what's happening here. What about that? That feel better? So I'm just recovering from like a long weekend. Still recovering, but nonetheless, Charles, man, good morning to you. And building, grooving, and being motivated, absolutely. He says slightly too loud. All right, got you. I'm gonna pull it back. Pull it back. I see what happened. My apologies, guys. I didn't notice. I blame logic. I'm blame shifting on logic. All right, I'm pulling that volume back. How about that? What about that? I was adjusting my volume thinking you guys couldn't hear me, but now I know what the problem was. So actually, Beefy, if that's your name, I'm rebuilding my collection right now. So right now, this has kind of been the go-to base for a minute. So I had to start over and start rebuilding. But I have something that I'm looking forward to playing. So yeah, that's pretty much that there. All right, we're gonna get this sound worked out for you guys. I'm up and down, up and down. Is that cool? Okay, got you. So one of the things I've been working through in my own personal playing, I tell you guys to set those personal goals all the time. So one of the things I've been kind of dealing with personally is just really, just really dealing with my rhythm and making sure it's more precise. Because generally I'm a feel guy all day long, but there's certain things that I'm working through, and I want to be a little bit more precise as it relates to certain things regarding improvisation. Now, when it comes to the groove, I think I stick that pretty good when it comes to groove, and so I've been really dealing more so along the lines of the improv. When I get time to really sit down and work through things, I've been listening. Even the way I'm listening to music, I'm gonna stop this for a second. Even the way I listen to music has changed a little bit as I'm listening to stuff that's more, improvisation and that kind of thing. I'm listening to it differently now. I'm listening to rhythmic choice in terms of things that they choose, whoever's soloing or whatever. And not to get super deep in that, but just you should always have some area of your playing that you're looking to improve upon, no matter what level you are on, because we know this music is non-ending. It's non-ending. It's always something that we can improve. It's always something that we can make better. Uh, what's the saying? We always should be looking to better our best. We should always be looking to better our best. So whatever your best or your last best performance was, or your last best whatever that was, you should find some type of way to even improve that. And that, I know that's personally, I'm hard on myself. I really don't need anybody to to point at my plan and like, you need to work on it. I probably heard it way before you did. Not saying that I don't welcome criticism or constructive criticism, that kind of thing. Let me be clear about that. Not to say I don't welcome constructive criticism. So yeah, but it's always that thing where I'm always looking to better my best, and that's something when I sit down and I find the time, those are some of the key things that I've been kind of working through is rhythmic choice in terms of how am I saying this rhythmically? How is it coming across? Because the melodic thing comes more natural to me. Might be because I sing, I'm not sure. But the melodic thing definitely comes a little bit more natural than the rhythmic thing. Even though I play drums, sometimes the rhythm part of what you're doing in improvisation with this instrument being so, I don't know, with the bass, it's a tricky one when you start doing a lot of improvisation. Most people can get away with doing a lot of thumping and popping and slapping, that kind of thing, but when you go more melodic, you have to be careful um, that you don't just keep doing the same thing over and over. And it's a trap that we can easily fall into as bass players. And so my different routines and practice now have been to be more aware of what I'm doing. All right. Uh, let's see here. Okay. So yeah, that's kind of where it's been for me in even in this groove, just kind of being more aware of what I'm doing. What types of rhythms am I playing? What types of rhythms do I have the tendency to go to the most? And of course, all of this being said, you want to do what's natural. You never want it to come across sounding like you're forcing something, but you want to make it part of your natural vocabulary and that kind of thing. But also awareness. It's kind of like working out and that kind of thing. I know there are certain areas I need to target a little more than other areas, so I need to be aware of what those areas are, because I could be, getting a lot of gains in one area and not doing as well in other areas, or getting a lot of chest and my stomach is getting out of control. I told y'all a few weeks ago my midsection had an attitude. So you have to be aware of all of these different things because they could be either moving you forward or pushing you backwards or keeping you stagnant, so to speak. So yeah, that's some stuff me just sharing personally that I've been working through. So drop in the comments if you are a musician. What are some of the areas in your playing that you are kind of working through right now, so to speak? What are some of the areas in your playing? Feel free to drop them. I'd love to hear what's your personal things that you're kind of working through on your own. I know a lot of people have been hitting me up trying to learn about a little bit more about application and that kind of thing. But is there something specific with the information? Because a lot of times it's not about, and I'll add this, it's not so much about adding more. Sometimes it's taking the information you already know and kind of readjusting what they call feng shui, kind of readjusting the information that you already have. Um, Kaziri said Kazire or Kaziri. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. You says rhythm and silences or silences is rhythms. I think I got what you're saying. Just kind of working a little bit more with the silence and that kind of thing. Less is more in a sense. I'm assuming that's what you mean when you say that. But yeah, that's everything. Kazir, got you. All right. So I think I said it right the first time. All right, cool. Or then again, I could have butchered it. I'll go back and listen to the replay, and I'll know exactly what I did. what I did. Uh, so yeah. So anybody else, drop in the comments what you're working through. I'm gonna play a little bit more rhythm, feels, timing. Good, good. I got you. So yeah, somewhat the same thing. The timing, it never goes away. It's something that you always should be. That timing, man, that thing is crucial because something you can play something that's very, very simple and flip the rhythm of it and play that same riff over and over again, just simply rearranging notes or rearranging the rhythm of it. He says working on Tiffany says working on expression emotion on bass. Exactly. I got you. Expressing more emotion on bass. I think that's something that people don't work on enough. And I will honestly say, me, the way I grew up and the musicians that I watched growing up, that wasn't something that was really expressed. People showing a lot of it. A lot of it. I don't know what just happened there. Hold on. Let me adjust this. Excuse me. I'm I'm on the wrong computer trying to adjust this. Hold on just a second. Check one. All right, there we go. I don't know what just happened there, guys. I apologize. So, all right, let's go back. Expression, emotion. I think that's something I don't think enough people. Can you guys hear me? Okay, I don't want to just be talking and you guys are not hearing me. Um, but I think that's something that enough people don't work on expression enough. I've had the pleasure of playing with a lot of musicians, and even talking about myself, the way I grew up, the musicians I grew up listening to, I didn't hear a lot of people expressing or playing with emotion. It was like straight poker face when they played, and I kind of unknowingly picked up those same habits. And it's something even now when I play, as long as I've been doing this, I have to kind of make myself aware. And I think that awareness, maybe I should have called this live awareness, but I think that awareness of what you're doing is something that's super huge. Kind of being aware of what some of the things, that you have going on in your playing, right? So let's go back here. Some more people drop some things that they're working on. I'm going to read through them. Basic improvisation. Got you, man. That's Floyd. Floyd says basic improvisation. Um, yeah, I work a lot on that as well. Kazir says I like to practice rhythm when I'm walking. That's cool. It's kind of walking and chewing gum at the same time kind of idea, making sure you can multitask, or just kind of incorporating different rhythms with walking, like kind of using your walking as a count. I'm asking you, kind of using your walking as the tempo, and you're practicing rhythms to the flow, the natural flow. um, Bless M. Wuhan. I just, I know I butchered that, but good morning to you. I'm not able to grow to new levels if I cannot express what I'm playing. Singing feels natural, and I'm working on the bass, feeling natural too. Got you. And it'll come. It'll come over time. The more you do it, the more, as anything, the more you do it, the more you make it a part of your practice, it'll become that much more natural to you. Again, it's just something that comes with time and effort, putting the effort in as well as the time. Indian guys have a very interesting way to practice rhythms. I agree. I've seen some videos of that culture, and it's amazing. It's really, really amazing. As a matter of fact, I thank you for mentioning it. I should make a note to start just listening and internalizing some of that stuff for myself, because you get caught up in your normal daily routine and you don't think to go back to that. But that's a very, very good point, because here, in terms of talking about Indian people, have a very interesting way to practice rhythms, and it's so prevalent in their music, and it's bananas. I say crazy in a good way. It's crazy. So I'm gonna write that down. Listen to more Indian music. I don't know the correct term, so I'm just saying that. Hopefully, that's not offensive to anyone. I just want to make a note of that for myself, so you guys help me out as well. Um, let's go. I need some tips on how to play gospel. There's a ton of videos on this channel. Do me a huge favor, when we're done with this live, go binge watch some of this channel, some of the content on this channel. I got a lot of stuff that will help you in that area. All right. Okay, I can't pronounce those names. You said Takadimi and Tagajuna stuffs. I guess that's what you mean. Uh, oh yeah, you talking about John McLaughlin, or are you talking about somebody completely different? You calling out a few names I haven't heard before. All right, so yeah, so those are some of the things I've been kind of personally working through. Again, just to reiterate that point, I think that's super huge, man. When you can kind of really know where your areas are, and oh yeah, John McLaughlin, yeah. But when you can identify what those areas are for you, again, going back to the whole goal setting thing that I talk about all the time, being aware of what you're doing, being aware of where those trouble spots are in your playing, and looking for the resources or targeting those areas rather so that you can get a lot better in that area. So let me kick this loop on just for a little bit longer, and then we'll go right into our talk for today. Did we lose the base? There we go. Cool. You say you've been watching Justin? Justin's a solid guy. Andre, good morning to you. All good, man. Thank you. So another thing, not being afraid to use those notes that you didn't mean to hit. If you notice, if you've been here more than one live, you know I'll go back to a note that I didn't mean to play and try to figure out how to work it in there. Because if you do this live, you do it live enough, you're gonna have to figure that out. The thing is like using your mistake to your advantage. That's something I've learned over time, is learning how to use my mistakes to my advantage. Like that note I didn't mean to play, that E flat. I make a whole phrase off of it. That's right, because there are no wrong notes, wrong intentions. And that's why I said you go back and use it. Try to figure out a way to incorporate it. Maybe I didn't mean to do that idea. Some of the dopest moments have happened. I can remember playing with the band I used to play with back in the day. Some of the dopest moments would happen out of a mistake that I made. And it's like I'm like kicking myself. This is when I was a little more young in my expression, if you will. I'd be kicking myself like, man, I messed up. And the keyboard player, like, no, 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 go play that again. I play it, and it's like a whole nother move. I know it's terrible language, but a whole nother move will happen off of what I just played, and we take it and go somewhere else and flip the whole thing. It was like that. That was, I think it would be. It was always something really, really cool. And so, like you said, no wrong notes, only wrong intentions. And I think Victor Wooten did a complete video talking about the whole idea behind there not being any wrong notes. And I think that allows us the freedom when we embrace those mistakes. I did a video talking about that a while back, but in learning how to embrace your mistakes and vibe off of it. Like, okay, how can I use this to my benefit instead of beating myself up about the fact that I did something that I didn't mean to do? How can I use this to my advantage? And if we can practice for mistakes, prepare, like, all right, getting out, like in your practice time, if you make that part of your routine, like, all right, I know at some point I'm going to play something that I didn't intend on playing. So let me work on different ways of getting out of this or getting to something else that I was trying to do, but not just sliding or skating past it. Let's use it. Let's bring it front and center. Let's hear that note two or three more times instead of, all right, I played that note and that was not the right note. All right, play it again. How can we get to the quote unquote right note from this note? Is there a way we can use this note to transition into something else? Does this note work with any other chord that's happening? We're listening for all those different things and listening for everything that's happening around us. Of course, in this particular environment or in this particular example, I'm playing with a bass loop. So there's not a, it's like a lot of room to kind of get around. But if I have a keyboard player, guitar player, a whole band of people that's playing stuff and I play something wrong, how do I get around it? And those are the things I had to figure out how to navigate through on a professional level. Because at some point you're gonna slip. It's gonna happen. I'm not wishing it on anybody, but just part of being a professional, you slip. And I think the greatest professionals learn how to cover their mistakes well. They recover well from mistakes. And I think that just sets uh, different cats apart. How do you recover once you make that mistake? You know, because it's gonna happen. But how do you recover from it? Do you just, oh man, and just like even being aware and is something. I'm talking about awareness again. I'm gonna change the whole name of this live to awareness. But being aware of what your face does when you make said mistake. Uh, you have to be aware of what you're doing because a lot of times the audience doesn't know. But keep in mind they are hearing a lot of times with their eyes. So if you don't show them that you made a mistake, a lot of times most people won't catch it unless their ear is super sweet. And you have a few of them in the audience. But if they're there to critique, it's like it doesn't matter what you play. They're gonna critique it anyway. So you can't get away with that. But every now and again, being able to pay attention to what angles every now and again, as much as possible, kind of be aware of what your face is doing. A good friend of mine, one of my mentors on bass, had told me something a while back. He said, practice in front of a mirror. Now we don't really have to do that because we have our cell phones. We can record ourselves and that kind of thing. And just watch what your face does the entire time you're playing. Sometimes, like normally with these lives, it's super early in the morning, so y'all are subject to get anything from my face. But generally speaking, I'm trying to be aware of my face and the energy that I'm giving, and I've talked about this extensively on other lives, so I won't go a lot into this. But yeah, try practicing in front of a mirror, try practicing, and that kind of thing. All right, so let's uh go back here. Floyd says, I feel like quick recovery has saved me and repeating save you and repeating the mistake. I got you. Um as we say when we make a mistake, that that was the jazz version. Hey man, y'all gonna quit putting jazz. I've heard a lot of people say that. They throw jazz under the bus like that. Then it's actually the funny thing about it, and I know it's a joke, but that stuff is very, very intentional. And I was listening to Chick Corea, rest his soul. I was listening to Chick Corea live. It was actually the Electric Band, and I think they had this was some concert they did, man, years ago. Mike Pope was on bass, and Dave Weckl, what's my guy name on the guitar, Frank and Bali, and it was just amazing. And the note choices and the things that they played were ridiculous, and everything was intentional. It wasn't random at all. All of the stuff was very, very intentional. So what sounded to me or to somebody else could sound like a wrong note. It's like they meant every last and one of them notes. So the music is definitely very, very intentional. All right, so Impulse Music. Hey, good morning. I'm off today and happy to be here. Happy to have you. Very happy to be here. All right, that's enough of that. All right, or look at the guitarist and shake your head. Yeah, that's that's terrible, man. Blame it on somebody else. Man, come on. I've seen that live too, and that's hilarious when people do that. All right, search uh, Matt Serena Unplugged. Matt Serena, is that how you say that? On YouTube for your videos of Indian timing practices. Sent your messengers. Okay, thank you. I appreciate that. Uh, yeah. You and your band members sell you out on your mistakes because most people don't know it. But if a thing that I've practiced for years now that I have the sometimes I have the habit of doing is I'll smile when I mess up. I'll smile. Big cheese comes across my face when I mess up. And obviously the band, when you smile, people kind of smile with you, whether y'all are laughing about the mistake. And the audience, a lot of them, they don't get it. They think y'all just having a good time. It's like, nah, bro, I just bummed. You didn't catch that, but you seeing this big old smile, and you just think, oh, they just having a really good time. No, I just played a really, really bad note, but it's all good. So just smiling sometimes. Try it if you ever playing live and you just happen to go under. Just try smiling, and that'll help you get out of it. It actually psychologically it seems to help you to recover as well because when you smile you take a little bit of the anxiety off and you can get back to what you're doing. But when you frown, it's like something immediately happens that changes your state, it changes your demeanor. So not only is it affecting you when you smile in a positive way, but it's like letting your brain know it's okay. We don't have to retreat, we don't have to tense up or anything like that. Just smiling, like, all right, let me get back up, let me get back on it. But when you frown or like, oh man, you know what I'm saying, like you tense up and it makes the performance not fun. You know what I'm saying? But when you smile, it changes everything. Andrew Wood, thank God it's Tuesday. Glad to see you here this morning, or glad to see your name because y'all only see me. I can't see y'all. Yeah. So jumping right into this talk this morning, I said I wasn't going to be here long. We'll see how that goes. But jumping right into the talk this morning, um, are you a manager? Are you a manager? So Kazir said he couldn't find anything. So y'all just talk amongst yourselves in those comments there. I'll go back and I'll read through them and look up that Indian music you're talking about. Are you a manager? I got a few points that I wanna talk about with talking about the managing. Melvin, good morning to you. And what does that have to do with musicianship? What does that have to do with anything that we do? Like this guy has some random titles sometimes. This stuff is really related. It's really, really related. I'm gonna give you a couple of 3 points, if you will. Morning, Stephen. Yeah, gonna give you a couple of 3 points. So if you want to jot some of these down, that's cool. You can do that. And this was inspired by Dr. Miles Monroe, if you will. This dude has talked extensively on management. He's written several books. I've read several of them in terms of management and that kind of thing. But three things I wanted to hit on this morning, and like I said, you can write them down. Somebody, if you want to type them in the chat, feel free. There can be no growth where there is no management. And I promise you, I'm not going to get boring with this. So don't jump off. It's going to help you. That's point number one. There can be no growth where there is no management. Number two, bad management will always produce lack. I'm going somewhere with this. I ain't preaching either. So don't nobody say preach in the comments. So bad management will always produce lack. All right. All right. And so number three, good management will always produce more. There's three things I wanted to kind of just hit on this morning as we talk about management and how does that apply to us. So again, I'll go through those three. There can be no growth where there is no management. Number two, bad management will always produce lack. And number three, good management will always produce more. I a lot of times I hear people talk about the fact that, man, I was going to practice, but I didn't have any time, right? He's this bass preacher. I didn't have any time, so I didn't get the chance to practice. I didn't get a chance to do this, didn't get a chance to do that because I didn't have time. I didn't have enough time. And even in the music industry or in my own part of the music industry, I'll say, I deal with people from time to time who just seem to not be able to get certain things done in an efficient amount of time. And it always just kind of baffles me because I know personally what I do and I know how much I can get done in a day. And so when I see people who are way more skilled at me in certain areas and they seem to not be able to get certain things done, I'm like scratching my head. I'm like, what do they got? What's going on? Like what's really the factor there? And one of the things that comes to mind is management. Management is everything. Granted, in this particular scenario, we're talking about time management, but management is everything. How you manage, it determines everything. And that's something I had to learn a few years ago, and I'm still learning now. I'm saying like I got it all down pat. I don't. I'm still working through things personally. But one of the things I started kind of really keying into was time management for me. As many of you guys know, if you've been following me for a while, I cut my TV off a long time ago in terms of like basic cable and all this kind of stuff. I cut it off years ago because I realized how much time was being wasted, how much time I was wasting watching TV, and I wasn't growing in terms of the things I said I wanted to do. I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I wanted to find ways to earn, more money for myself. I wanted to grow in my playing. And I was like, man, I just couldn't find the time. And so once I started analyzing, like, dude, how much time are you, excuse me, like, how much time are you spending watching TV? And I'm averaging the time is like, I'll sit here and watch this show, then another show come on, and then another, how you sit down and you start binging. I had to be careful even now not to do that on YouTube. Or Instagram or anything. Like it could be your TV. Those different things, they all come to steal your time. And time is the one asset that you can't get back. You can't get back. You can't buy time. The only thing you can do is maybe do certain things that help you to better manage the time. That kind of thing. So that in itself, that's a whole nother subject I can't even get into right now. I just made a purchase yesterday to help me better manage my time because I realize how important that time management is. But when again, seeing certain people or even myself, I ain't gonna throw anybody else on it, but seeing myself waste so much time getting certain things done, I noticed within a day how much I wasn't getting done. So I started getting up early, and I started attacking my hardest task, like first thing in the morning. Just for me personally, if I have to record, like last week, I had to do a lot. I had to play out and for two different things in two different locations. And I had a ton of stuff that I had to do here and recording on top of that. And so I had to learn material for all of it.
and learn the material that I had to record. So what I find myself doing when I have a session or something like that, when I get up in the morning, I kind of go through my day. If I'm not going live like I am here, I try and knock out that recording. I'll start soon as I finish, my workout and my personal time and that kind of thing. I'll start recording like super early in the morning because most of the time I'm recording like guitar and bass. So the guitar is very, very time consuming for me because if anybody plays guitar, there's a lot of layering that happens. It's like you're not going to send a person one track and they're going to be satisfied. At least I don't, and they'd be satisfied. It's like I send multiple tracks. I've clean guitar, distortion, all this different stuff. So it's almost like 5 tracks of guitar that I'll probably send out. So it's a lot of time that goes into that. So I know I have other things I want to get done during the day. So I have to really, number one, take into consideration how much time is this going to take me to do this. That's the first thing. Understanding like, okay, I know on average when I cut guitar on a track, it may take 2 to 3 hours, maybe, depending on what type of time and depending on the how difficult the track is. If it's a more difficult track, it might take even longer than that because again, I'm stacking and I'm layering parts. If I'm recording bass, I know it's not going to take me that long. I can listen to it a couple of times, and in less than an hour, I'll have a couple of takes done for bass. And if it's a super easy track, I might have it done in a few minutes. Just knock it out and move on. But I'm, by nature a perfectionist, so I go back and listen. I go back and correct and all that kind of stuff. And so I have to be mindful of how long is this going to take me, and that's another part of management, knowing how long something is going to take. That way I don't waste my time. If I answer my phone with certain people, I know this conversation has the tendency to last a little longer than 30 minutes. And I don't have more than 30 minutes to give to this conversation. So I might need to look at that and say, you know what? I can't answer the phone. I can't answer this particular person's call today because I don't have more than, not that I don't want to talk to them, but this particular time, I know I don't have that time to give away. And so it's just really being aware of those different things that come to steal your time. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but when you have a goal, you have to be completely aware because that time you won't get back. And again, where there is no growth, there is no management. I'm sorry, there can be no growth where there is no management. It's like it sounds just like what it sounds. If you don't manage your time, you're not going to grow and seem like you're getting more time or adding more time to your schedule. When I started getting up earlier in the morning and getting like my hardest task done, I know there's still the same amount of 24 hours in a day, but it seems like all of a sudden I started finding other time for these other things that I wanted to get done. And people would even ask me recently, man, how do you get so like people that kind of follow me and keep up with everything I'm putting out constantly with content and that kind of thing? It's like, dude, how do you get this much stuff done? It's like I number one, I prioritize. I have I have a calendar here. I have my phone with dates and stuff in it, and I'm constantly writing stuff down. And trust me, this is something that can be learned because I was not this guy. All honor and praises go to God and my wife because she definitely helped me in this. She definitely helped me in this area, being more organized. And I see Kazir says something about that. Management organization is the key. Yes. It's tough because we musicians want to be free and are a bit crazy and not really organized like computer geeks. I totally agree. I think for me, man, when I was younger, I would record like to 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. It's like if that creative idea hit, I want to be there and I want to be in the moment, and I'll stay up. Even when I lived with my mom back in the day, my parents rather, and I bought me a little building and I set it out behind the house. It was a little one of those little buildings that I turned into a studio. It wasn't really a studio; it was a building. But I would stay out there to 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning working on music. No time management at all, just being creative. But the thing about it, I was being creative, practicing, and all of that's good. And getting the creativity out, getting the idea out, but there was no goal. There was no goal. The idea was just to be creative. And I think that's a good thing, being that we are creatives. But the bad thing about that is where's the target? We're just creating for what? Like, yeah, be creative for the sake of getting the idea out. All right, so once I get the idea out, now what? Where's it going now? All right. So what are we gonna do with this idea? Once I've recorded this song, now what are you gonna do with it? And so again, having people that I know and that I've worked with in the industry and seeing some people be able to execute certain things in an efficient amount of time, and then seeing other people who are very, very well rounded in terms of gifted, can do, I mean, just good, and just have no time management whatsoever. It's like you lose work. This is my point. You lose potential work, potential opportunities because you're not organized. You're not managing that time. It says bad management will always produce lack. You ever seen somebody who is super talented, super gifted, and seem like they never have? And I don't mean going through a season of, maybe everybody goes up and down. There's life seasons: winter, spring, summer, fall. Some people might be in the fall or the winter of their lives, but you shouldn't be in winter year after year after year, and that's all we ever see. And there, you never come out of that. It's like, no, there's, look at the management. Let's take a look at the management. How are you managing your time? How are you managing your resources? What are you doing differently than you were doing last year or last month or 6 months ago? Are you managing all these things well? Because it doesn't matter that you're gifted or you're talented or that you've put a lot of work in practicing and becoming this great musician, because if you don't manage your affairs well, you will lose opportunities. You will lose money because people won't call you for certain things because they like, okay, I need this turnaround in X amount of, me as a producer, for instance. There's certain people if it's a rush situation, there's certain people I won't call, and they are more than able to get the job done in terms of skill set, their playing ability, all of the above. But when it comes to time management, I cannot trust them to get the work done. And so instead of me ruining my name with the client or with whoever, I won't do it. It's like I'll take a less talented person who has better management. This pollen is something else. Who has better management, better work ethic, all of that kind of stuff. Because at that point, I know I can guarantee a certain time. I like to be able to guarantee a certain time, a certain turnaround. And if you don't manage that, certain people won't call you, and you don't even know you missed a call. So bad management will always produce lack. So a lack of calls means a lack of work. A lack of work means a lack of financial resource. A lack of financial resources causes a whole bunch of stuff. So with everything, there are consequences associated with it. So when we're not managing what we've been given, even when it comes to practice, not finding time to practice, and going back to what I was saying earlier, watching TV all day, or spending all your time on Instagram or spending all your time on YouTube. I'm talking to me, so don't y'all get mad. This is just me and Jermaine. We having this one on one right now. So so my outlet, and this is my scapegoat that I use for myself personally. I do a lot. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm an entrepreneur. I'm the house guy. I'm the yard guy. I'm the everything. I do a lot. I wear a lot of hats. That's why I keep this on all the time, because I wear a lot. I wear a lot of hats. So there's a lot on me. So a lot of times my escape will be, all right, I'll jump on my phone and look up some videos or something like that that have nothing to do with music. Just I like to laugh, obviously. So I'll look up maybe funny videos or something silly to take my mind off of what I'm doing, or to kind of like to get away for a second. That's like a short getaway. Sometimes I'll like just even more in my own lawn. That's my getaway, because I don't do anything, but I'm like sitting there and on the lawnmower, and my brain is free to just kind of not focus on music, not focus on whatever else at the moment. And so I get to have that bit of freedom. And so these are different types of things that I do to kind of have an escape. But you have to be careful that your escape doesn't become negligence. Whatever that thing you're doing, it doesn't become something that gives you an excuse not to be productive or to manage your time a little less better than I know I'm saying that wrong, but it doesn't become something that causes you to fall all the way off in terms of your management. So that has to be managed as well. All right, I'm going to take a break here. I'm going to take a 15, 20-minute, 30-minute break. Let that be timed. How long is this break going to be? I get up super early in the day, so I take naps. I'm sorry to let y'all know that, but I'm not a Superman. I take naps. So, but those naps are timed. I set my timer on my phone, so I can't sleep past a certain time. I got to get up and do something else. So all of that stuff is part of my management because I know how much time I have to work with within this day, and I know for me, I normally shut down my studio and all of my work. I shut it down like 8 p.m. each day. So that means I allot time throughout the day. My family is in the house, so periodically throughout the day, I'll stop what I'm doing over here. Like right after this live, I normally go over with my family unless I have something else or a call or a lesson or something like that. I generally go over and have breakfast with my family at a certain time. And I talk to my wife, I talk to my kids for a minute, and then I get back at it. I know I have a certain amount of time that I have to be over there, and then I got to get back to what I was doing. Being aware of all of that time helps me to stay on task, so when I have a call or when I schedule something, I don't have to reschedule because of lack of planning and a lack of time, management and that kind of thing. So again, bad management will always produce lack. Good management, however, will produce more. Good management will always produce more. One of the things that I've seen as a result of being more aggressive about my time, being more aggressive about how I manage my affairs, how I manage stuff, I've just been seeing over time increase happen in different areas. And if we go back and dissect it, I'm like, wow, I didn't realize it, but I've been working really hard to manage these particular areas. And now I'm starting to see the payoff for, the work that I've been putting in. Because before I couldn't pinpoint it because I wasn't sure what I was putting in. I wasn't sure the work or whatever. But once you start really keying into these things and being specific about these things, I tell you guys all the time, I have a list on my phone that I call my goals, dreams, reality list. Some people call it their wish list or, their vision board, that kind of thing. How I know I'm on task personally, um, I can go by the board and the things that I've laid out that I want to do, like a lot of the goals. And once I find myself checking off one by one a lot of these different goals, it's like, wait a minute, I'm doing something right. I'm right where I am supposed to be in terms of the outline that I've set out and the path that I set out. Of course, with that, y'all know I keep it real in terms of my beliefs. I believe God is ordering my steps, and that's something that I'm constantly praying. Like, God, teach me to do Your will. Let Your good Spirit lead me on level ground. There's a psalm that says that. And so, by doing that and actually listening and being sensitive and trying to have a relationship with God when I'm talking, or when I'm praying, and being directed by Him, it's like I find myself accomplishing my own personal goals that I laid out that's on my dream list or my reality list or the vision board, whatever you call yours. I'm accomplishing those things and I'm marking them off one by one by one. But as you like, if you're a person that doesn't manage well, you'll be that guy who's talking to somebody year after year and you're talking about these things you want to do and you haven't made any progress towards realizing that goal. And it's a difference. You can tell the people who talked about something. A good friend of mine, Carlin McCullough, he and I talked about something years ago. Some of you guys may know about this, Shed Tracks. I remember when he talked about the idea of something that he wanted to do, and then not too long after that, I saw the fruition of that idea come to, it came to fruition or whatever. And I started seeing little stuff, little by little. Every time I talk to him, yeah, I'm working on this, man. I'm building this, and I'm gonna launch on this particular day, but I've been doing this. I've been doing this. It's like every time you talk to him, he's accomplished a little bit more, accomplished a little bit more, accomplished, and before you know it, now it's this big thing that all these drummers know about, and drummers all around the world are playing to his idea. Think about what I just said. Drummers all around the world are playing to his idea. It started as an idea, and he made goals, and he set goal on top of goal to try to accomplish something. Every I see somebody director says I have to sign off. I'm at work. You have a great day as well. Thank you for watching. Um, but he set these goals, and he was always working towards these goals and managing his time all along the way. He knew how long this was going to take, or had an idea rather. Okay, I know this is going to take me this long, so I need to set aside this time to work on it. And I see him doing certain things when he gets ready to launch something new. Same thing with me. When he gets ready to launch something new, it's like, all right, man, I plan on launching this at this particular time. So I've just been working and working and working. And guess what? On that particular day, you see it launch. And people like that who is super super productive, and I use him because that's somebody I know personally, but there's a lot of other people that I'm connected with that are business people, business minded and very organized and task oriented, goal oriented, and they get things done. They say they're going to do something and they deliver. It's just about keeping your word to yourself. It does something else when you keep your word to you, because just talking about it and saying, man, one day I want to, yeah, but have you wrote it down? Yeah, man, I was gonna write. I haven't wrote it down in my phone yet, or I haven't wrote it down anywhere yet. But one day I'm gonna do it. One day never happens. Anybody who knows anything knows one day never happens. And I don't say that in a derogatory sense, meaning that doesn't happen for the people who don't plan for it to happen. Success is predictable, just like failure is predictable. How you plan, how you manage, that will determine what's going to happen. So your one day becomes a reality by the work you put in today. Not one day I'm going to write this down. No, let's write it down now. Let's write it down today. Let's make a point to manage what we're going to do now. Let's manage to write it down. Write it down now. So my challenge to you guys is to write down all that stuff you're trying to do. What's that vision you have for yourself? What's that goal you want to get, get accomplished? What's that dream? What's that job? Where do you want to be in your playing? Since a lot of you are here for base, what's your goals? Now, how are you managing your time to get to that place that you're trying to be? Maybe you're not trying to be a solo player. Maybe you just want to work on groove a little bit more. So, are you managing your time in terms of listening to more music? Like setting aside time. I'm not talking about practicing and I have to learn songs. Do you set aside time to listen to stuff that's grooving a lot and not only just hear it, but do intentional listening? This time is set aside just for me to listen intentionally so I can hear certain things that I wasn't hearing before, because I'm trying to train my ears. That ear training never stops, you know? So all of these different things that you're working on, and being intentional, being very, very intentional about managing your time, because what you don't manage well, you will lose. If you find yourself saying all the time, man, I don't never have any time. Nothing happened to the sound. I'm just waiting. If you find yourself saying all the time, I never have any time, that's because you're probably not managing the time well enough. You get more of what you manage. And I'm a living witness of that. You get more of what you manage. When you don't manage anybody knows who has a house, when you don't manage to keep the house you have, if you don't manage your payments and manage your utilities and all this kind of stuff, you don't manage to pay that light bill, they gonna cut it off. If you don't manage to pay your water bill, they gonna cut that off. And all this other stuff, if you don't manage to do it well. And again, I understand this. If you're in a tough season, and I don't want to be insensitive or have someone thinking that I'm trying to be insensitive in what I'm saying. If you are in a tough season and stuff has happened beyond your control, and it's not because you didn't manage, but it just happened, life just happened, that's not your fault. But don't just stay there. Come up with a plan. You didn't plan on this happening. You were doing your thing, but now it happened. So now you got to come up with a plan to get out of it. All right, what's your plan? What's your plan? Don't sit there and cry, because nobody is gonna really care. That's the sad truth about it. It's like Les Brown has a saying. He says, telling people about your problems, 80% of the people don't care, and 20% of the people are glad it's happened to you. Sad to say, and I know that's it's probably untrue to some degree. But the fact of the matter is, like, just think about when people post something on Facebook or whatever, or that's where I see it the most. Is like, man, y'all pray for me. I'm going through such and such. Most people don't care. Most people honestly don't care about what you're going through, and not because they're selfish, or it's just out of sight, out of mind. You live in a scroll society. And I'm not talking about the scrolls on Marvel. I'm talking about people scrolling through their phones. They see, hey man, my family's going through something. Keep me in prayer. Oh, keep scrolling. Now to the oh, that's a funny video. They forgot about you. They didn't mean to. They just forgot about you. You're not on their mind. You're not on the top of their priority list. So people move on. Unfortunately, that's the downside about social media is it makes us connected and so disconnected at the same time, because everybody in a sense has become ADD. It's like we scroll up to the next thing and we immediately forgot about the last thing we saw. We can see somebody dying on a video, and the next video is funny and we're laughing. And it's almost desensitized us. I'm not gonna get on my soapbox about social media in that sense. But you understand what I'm saying. Everything is not always, that people are selfish and they don't care. It's that you're just not on their minds. You're just not on everybody's mind. So you have to make a point to, do these self evaluations for yourself, kind of see where you are with these things, see where you are with management, and pick up the pieces. And like I said, if you fell on hard times, get up. You failed, now get up. Get up, figure out what you're going to do. Know that you can come back. Know that if I make a plan, all right, this is all I have right now. Especially I'm a musician to musician, I'm talking to you. So I fell on hard times. I lost my gigs. I lost this. I lost that. And it doesn't look like anything's going to open up anytime soon. So what you going to do about it? What else can you do? And what else do you know how to do well? That, hear this part, that doesn't compromise you being a musician, because you still, the main objective is to get back to this. But is there something you can do that allows you to still keep this fresh, so when stuff does open back up, you can get back to what you were doing without any, you ain't missing a beat in terms of your plans. It ain't like you got to start all the way back over again. But another thing that comes with it is the humility of, and I don't even know why I'm here, but somebody needs this, the humility of, it's okay that this doesn't look like what I'm used to. It's okay, because I've seen a lot of people in this season, musicians, become humbled by things that they had to do that they weren't having to do before. And the humility that comes with that, it's like, no, I'm okay. It's a reminder, stay humble. If you stay humble, you don't have to get humble. If you stay humble, understanding um that, you know you understand that it's not about you. You are a vessel that's being used. You are a vessel that's being used, and what you're able to do, you've put a lot of work in, you put a lot of time in, and because you've managed well, you've been given more. For you guys who are really, really good, nobody owes you anything. The world doesn't owe you anything because you're good. You've just managed what you have well to a certain degree, and you've been blessed because of that. And just like you've been blessed, anything can happen. Corona is a living witness of that. Anything can happen, and it can all be over with tomorrow or today. Anything can happen. So stay humble. You don't have to, um, you don't have to be arrogant or anything like that. One of my run-ins this past weekend. I went to a different city, and I was at this hotel, and it was a funny story. This guy, I don't know if he's watching or not, but somebody apparently that subscribed to me on YouTube. I'm in this place, and I'm not expecting anybody to know who I am. I walk by this guy at the front desk. He's talking to the person working the front desk, and he says, when I passed by, I just spoke to him. I got stuff in my hand. I'm carrying stuff up to the room. My family was there with me, and he's like, "Man," he said, "you look really familiar." I was like, "Oh yeah," I had a mask on. I said, "Oh yeah." I said, "I got one of those faces. I get that all the time. Man, you look really, really familiar." I got one of those faces. He's like, "No, man." He said, "Have you ever heard of this guy named Jermaine Morgan?" So I started laughing. I said, "Yeah." I said, "I'm him." He's like, really, man? And so he goes on, and the guy at the front desk, he's looking me up on Google, which is funny, it's hilarious to me. But the guy at the front desk is looking me up on Google, and he's like, man, he's like, man, that's so cool, and you're so humble. I guess the point of that story is, what is there to be not humble about? Okay, a few people know you on YouTube or wherever the case may be, and Google pull up something, but what is there to not be humble about? See, I get that all the time with people when I talk to them. It's like, man, you seem like you're really humble. I'm not too far removed from knowing how I came up, how I grew up, and this is totally off script. So if y'all need to leave, you know, don't leave. I'm not too far removed from how I grew up and where I grew up, and I always keep that in my mind. So I don't have to have a reminder to stay humble because it's like anything could happen, man. Anything could happen. And we've been given this life. We've been given this life. And if you're like me and you've gotten a second opportunity at this thing, I suppose been out of here when I was 6 years old. I had a major lawnmower accident when I was 6 years old. So I'm grateful for every day that I get to do this. And granted, gratitude takes a while. Some people get into something that causes them to have gratitude, or their scenario, their situation. They might, were born and raised in poverty, and now they're doing a little bit more. They're doing a little better and that kind of thing. So they are super humble because they remember what it was like. I grew up in it was almost poverty. We had food. We always had food, but we were never balling. So I grew up like that, and I grew up with a great appreciation, just for how things are now. I, I I can I can appreciate how things are now because I realize how I grew up. I know how I grew up, and I know things weren't always easy. Things weren't always simple, um, and there was some struggles and stuff when I was growing up. And I know how hard my parents worked, and so yeah. Not to get too far off on that, long story short, there's no reason to not be humble, no matter what your background, what your upbringing is. This is a gift that you get given. Every day you're able to put one foot in front of the other. It's a gift, man. Every day that you're able to even use these hands. It doesn't matter if you're not Victor Wooten on base or Marcus Miller or any of these people that you may look up to, you may idolize. The fact that you can use your hands and figure this stuff out, it's a blessing. So remain humble about that. Always show someone what you know. Be willing to show, be willing to help, be willing to help someone else grow or to get to where you've gotten. Because hearing other people's story, being willing to listen to other people's story, it can keep you humble. Not only having your own story, but being willing to listen to someone else's story, you become grateful. You develop a sense of gratitude. There was this family I seen not too long ago, and this is about a month or two after the pandemic hit. Trust me, everybody felt that. At least I know I felt it. I can't speak for everybody, but I felt it. And I know how hard it was being a man, being a provider for my family of five, including myself, three kids, a wife, and myself. Uh, I saw this family um, we were at Walmart. We were leaving Walmart. And I saw this family out there, uh, Latino family, and the guy was holding a sign, and he was holding a sign saying he just needed to get some diapers for his child. His kids sitting outside. They had vehicles and everything. They just didn't have anywhere to go. And I think they had just moved down here, uh, and he couldn't find work. I think someone promised him some work when he moved here, and when he got here, I guess they kind of reneged on the deal, and he moved his whole family down here. He didn't have anywhere to go. He didn't have anywhere to stay, and my heart instantly went out to him. My heart instantly went out to him. I won't go into detail. I did try to help them, but I realized at that moment that, man, that could be me. That could be my family out there. And I think keeping that in your mind, it keeps you humble. That could be me. That person I'm looking at, trying to look down at this person. There's an old quartet song that says, "Don't look down on a man unless you're reaching down to pick him up." It's an old school song. Think about the Jackson Southern Ass. The only time you should look down on a man is when you're picking him up. And if you're not picking him up, you shouldn't be looking down on anybody. Sorry, I got some stuff going on here. You shouldn't be looking down. I got an ant, random ant walking around my studio. Um, you shouldn't be looking down on anybody unless you're reaching down to pick them up. So I know I'm way off. I'm way off center this morning, but maybe it's a reminder. Maybe I'm right where I need to be because it's a reminder to someone that, man, it's like every day is a gift. If you can't find anything to be thankful for, breathing. I know we've had enough people to tell you with what's going on, and these people on these ventilators and stuff like this. Just being able to breathe, just being able to do that, it's something to be thankful for. And you don't have any problems. There's people that's panicking. Seeing my son struggle and needing a treatment with all of this stuff that's going on with the pollen and stuff like that. He doesn't have asthma, but he has like mild symptoms every now and again. And seeing him struggle to breathe, like that stuff should make you appreciative of just you. And you shouldn't need to see something like that to be appreciative, but sometimes we do. Sometimes we have to be reminded of certain things. So yeah, excuse me. So I went a little deeper than I intended to go with this talk this morning, but let me go through some of these comments and hopefully this has been helpful. If this has been helpful for anybody, leave it in the comments. Again, this is Grooves and Motivation. I'm Jermaine Morgan. If you don't know who I am for whatever random reason. And so if this has been helpful, please be sure to drop it in the comments because I want to know that this stuff is actually helping you. All right, so let's go back. I don't know how many of these comments I'm gonna be able to read because I missed a lot. Um, so here, yeah, it's a lot. Okay, so I'll start with Kazir because I read your last comment about management and organization. He says, since I have a kid, my time is very limited. I get it. I got three, so it's just again going back to the principles of management, knowing what time you're going to allot to your kids, and maybe like I did, I had to start getting up hours early. So I had to not beat my kids up. I had to beat them waking up. You know what I'm saying? So I had to get up and start doing my thing way earlier than everybody else got up. So I had 3 hours of personal development time and practice and all that kind of stuff. So by the time they got up and I had to put all my attention to them, I didn't feel like I didn't go through my day feeling like, man, I lost or whatever the case may be, and feeling bad at the end of each day because I'm not taking care of certain things that I know that are important, as well as my family and my children. So yeah, that is everything. Time management is everything. Tiffany says, I love how God speaks the same themes to me every week. At the gym, we are talking about sacrifice. Sometimes we have to let go of the good things to get to the better investing. Absolutely. Andrew says, many hat, many hats need one like yours. Yeah, these hats are hard to find, man. I don't know what's going on with that. They're very. I get asked about hats like this all the time. I'm like, they are super hard to find now. Cause you're a daddy house guy. Naps, welcome to the class. Come on here, La. The naps is where it's at for me. I agree 100%. Time management is the key to productivity and organization. Absolutely, Andrew. Um, Kazir also says, I have a friend who was talking to me about the Dorian mode for 15 years now. Never heard him play. Never heard him play any of it. Ain't that funny? The people that can name everything that you're doing, but you get them to plug up and you don't hear none of that stuff. It's like, wait a minute, we missing something. All right, so Steven, once again, my dude saved the day. He wrote down the points that I mentioned today about the management. No growth is a production of bad management. Two, bad management will always produce lack. Good management will always produce more. Man, I appreciate you writing that down. So if anybody wants those points, Know Your Sound has dropped them in the live chat, so you can go and write those down for your own benefit. Again, these are inspired by Dr. Miles Monroe. I didn't come up. I'm not taking credit for uh, that those points. I just kind of rephrased them because it's something I'm like as I was kind of taking that information. I'm like, this is really really good. And I want to share this, and so if you want more about management, be sure. I think he has a book called Principles of Management. Dr. Miles Monroe is no longer with us, but that information will live on forever, and I think it's so helpful to you guys if you want to read any of those books or check out any of his videos here on YouTube. That's Dr. Miles Monroe. All right. So good day, Tay. Good day to you, man. Because here says when you are teaching, you see how unorganized most adult students are. Yeah, absolutely. You said most adult students are. Yeah, you do see that. Most people are unorganized. Why can't I talk right now? Most people are unorganized, and I was one of them, and I have the tendency to still be one of them when it comes to certain things. Let my wife come in here now; she'll be like, "Dude, you need to straighten your desk up," because I'm like, I can easily become a clutter guy when I'm working. I like to have everything within arm's reach, so I'll put everything where I can reach it, and that that kind of thing. So yeah, I can easily fall into that trap. Don't fall victim to the about to be. We all know about the folks who are about to be doing. So listen, that's where it's at. About to be or fin to. I talked about that before. I'm about to go over here. I'm about to do this. About yeah. Don't be that. Don't be the about to be people. All right, because here says the best sentence for my students. I don't have the time to practice. Yeah, that's the one. Just sold a house. Donnie Johnson says just sold a house and bought another one. Money management and budgeting is key. Congratulations, man. You definitely winning. Yeah, I know about that. Just selling the house and buying another. Yes, sir. They don't care because it's not them. Oh, you were talking about what I was saying earlier when people don't care. Because here says I use Facebook or Insta. I don't use Facebook or Insta anything anymore. So much wasting the time, and it depends on how you're using it. I think it's still cool. I'm not saying that Facebook or Instagram is bad or anything. I know that's not what you're saying, but me personally, um, I use it. I use it as a tool. I use it as a tool, and with anything, it's like how you use it. It determines everything. How you use it. I'm not gonna go on and on about that. Andrew said this is why grooves and motivation on a Tuesday is so important. It's like stopping at the service station and getting fuel that would last all week. Man, I appreciate you. Thank you so much, Andrew. Appreciate your attitude, man. Always positive words coming from you and my dude Charles. My grandpa used to say, always tell me some things may not be your fault, but when they happen to you, it becomes your responsibility. That's good. Some things may not be your fault, but when they happen to you, they become your responsibility. That's good. Jamie, good morning to you, man. Arrogant people just didn't suffer enough. I don't know. I know some arrogant folks that have suffered a lot. Maybe they just didn't learn enough. I don't know. So that's an interesting one. Um, Charles said this definitely set the tone for the day and the week. Thanks, Jermaine. My pleasure, man. Thank y'all, Anthony Robinson, Stephen, Jamie. That's how I recognize you in the hotel. Ah, that was that. Okay, got you, man. I got you. So you are here this morning. I appreciate that, man. Thank you for watching. I didn't catch the name, but I got you. I got you now. So Jamie is the guy that I saw this weekend at the hotel. So thank you for confirming my story. Now people know I'm not fibbing over here. I'm not fibbing over here. But I really appreciate you, man. It was cool to meet you in person. And any of you guys that I actually meet, it's not the first time, but any of the people that I meet in person, it's always cool to see human beings. He see real faces because I see numbers when I look at. If you don't comment in the chat, I just see numbers. When the videos, it could be 130 something thousand views, and those are just numbers. And I'm like, these are more than just numbers. These are people. I want to know who the people are out there. And so when I do have the opportunity to meet someone in person, it's like, man, I've been watching your video. Like that's cool, man. That's super super cool because you just never know. And for somebody to uh, enjoy what you do, I don't take it lightly. So Jamie, man, just being a cool dude, being a minister, I appreciate you, man, and I appreciate you, speaking because you could have kept that to yourself and been like, man, that dude looked familiar. Just went on about it. But that, as much of an experience as it was for you, it was also an experience for me. So thank you for that. Andre says this was good for me. Thank you. Thank you for the goals. Absolutely, man. No problem. So again, thank you guys for watching. Kazir, hope we can jam together one day. I play sax. Cool, man. That's really cool. It may happen. It may happen. Before I do this, I promised this last week. I was going to give away strings. I was going to give away strings for people who commented in the chat and in the live video on last week. And I did pick a winner. The winner of the strings, I don't remember seeing his name. I may have saw it. Forgive me. There's been so many names popping up. I might have looked over it. But if you're watching, Tyrone Williams is this week's winner of the SIT string. The what is this? The Rock Bright stainless strings. Tyrone Williams. So if you're watching this or if you're watching it in the replay, shoot me an email with your address and everything. Jermaine at JermaineMorgan.net. Shoot me an email and we'll get these strings right out to you. So for this week, if you um if you want to enter for a chance to win, simply type in the comments management. That's it. Type in the comments management. I'm going to pick the winner at random. And be sure to type where you are when you put it down. Type management and put where you are. Because some of you guys didn't put where you are in the comments. So be sure to drop management with your like city or whatever. Rep your city, if you will. Rep your country and put management down in the comments to enter the win. And again, I'm gonna pick these at random. We're gonna be doing this. Thank God we're growing to a little over 38,000 and some followers now. So it's been a long journey. But thank you guys for watching. If you haven't subscribed, if you haven't liked this video already, be sure to like and leave a comment. That really helps me in these videos, and I appreciate you guys being here as usual. But that's pretty much it for today. So hopefully you got a lot out of this. I got some stuff to do. I got a lot. Speaking of management, I got a lot to do today. Got to get back on it. I took a break yesterday from music stuff. I didn't really take a break from home stuff, but I took a break from music stuff. So right now I got to get back on the horse, get some stuff done today. So I thank you guys for watching. Seriously, thanks for the gift, man. Hope it goes to some one who cannot afford it. Absolutely, man. We're going to be doing this for the next few weeks. Oh, unless I forget to mention, I always forget. If you guys haven't picked up my book, if you enjoy the stuff that I talk about here on the Grooves and Motivation Live, you'll definitely enjoy this book, 10 Ways to Success. I wrote this book last year for the working musician. Some things, some practical things you can use. It's a very easy read, super easy read. Yeah, my first book, and hopefully you'll find this super helpful. You can get this off Amazon. Yeah, you can get it on Amazon, Kindle, Audible, and if you want a signed copy, you can order it from my website, JermaineMorgan.net, and I can get this over to you. Again, thank you guys so much for watching this video. And if you're still here, you're still new, and you still need some help, some of you guys that was here at the beginning saw the video about the riffs and licks course. It's on my website if you want to learn more about playing riffs and bass licks and that kind of thing. I did 2 full courses where I break down 20 to 25 licks on each course, and I literally show you exactly what it is I'm playing and kind of where you can use it. Comes with tab and sheet music, that kind of thing for you guys who need that, and I break it down. So be sure to check that out on JermaineMorgan.net, as well as other tons of courses and materials I have for you guys who are trying to advance in learning bass, who are trying to improve in playing gospel music. There are specific courses there as well for learning gospel. And hopefully it's something that will help you guys as it helped hundreds of people around the world so far. Oh, maybe thousands now, but I think I'm going to stay with hundreds to be safe. All right. So thank y'all, man. Kazir, I appreciate you. France, Bowie, Maryland. Okay. Shelvin, I don't remember seeing your name, but welcome, man. Thank you for watching. I appreciate it. All right, guys, I'm out. Have a great day. Much love to you. All right, peace.